players on YouTube. I'm here with a wonderful Rebelle 5 bass made by BassLine, which is a German luthier located in the city of Krefeld. The owner and founder of the company, Rüdiger Ziesemann, founded BassLine in 1982. So he was one of the first in Germany to professionally build instruments. Back then he still was working as a carpenter, so he has a lot of experience with woods, especially with Tonewoods, of course, with building instruments, with all different trends of building instruments throughout the decades. So he came up with a new model a few years ago, which is the Rebelle. It's the latest addition to his roster of bass models. Some others are the Buster, which is his most successful model, the Warp, the Universal, which is an electric upright, and the Universal once was played by Rhonda Smith. I'm not sure if she still plays it, but she surely did for many years. So that's only some of the models BassLine offers. All of the models are highest quality and made with a lot of German components. We go into details later. The first and most important thing about building instruments, building basses in special maybe, is the tone wood. This body is made from tulip wood. The tulip tree grows in the eastern parts of North America and Asia. And it's often referred to as yellow poplar. But these two species have nothing in common. They're not related. So that's just a name. In terms of density, tulip is somewhere in between ash and alder, which are the most used tone woods when it comes to building basses. These are used, of course, for all the classic Fender instruments, all the Fender basses, P and J basses. They're used for the Stingray basses, and for a lot of other models from different brands, alder and ash have been used. So this is somewhere in between there. It is a bolt-on construction. The neck is held by 6 screws. The neck is made from one-piece mahogany. The fretboard is made from ferro. That's not an unusual wood for fretboards these days, because some companies replaced their rosewood fretboards with ferro. That has to do with the CITES laws that came up last year or the year before. That has to do, of course, with availability, and last thing, that has to do with pricing, of course. So ferro is not an unusual fretboard wood these days, and it's also used on the Rebelle. The fretboard has a wonderful binding with dots to mark the frets. Dots can also be found on the fretboard, but not in the usual position, but in between the B and the E string. I said it earlier that BassLine is working with a lot of small German companies for different parts of their instruments. The bridge is coming from ETS, the pickups are coming from Häusl, the electronic circuit is coming from Noll. So these are all German luthiers or German companies which supply a lot of German brands, not only German but European brands, instrument building brands with their parts. One interesting thing about the bridge is its single bridge elements, as you can see. Ibanez, for example, refers to these as monorail bridge. The BassLine guys told me it's single bridges. So it's just single elements, one element per string. And there's different reasons for using these. One, of course, is the weight. If you use one element per string, you save weight compared to a massive brass bridge or aluminum or steel or whatever the bridge is made of. One other thing is, of course, costs, because these elements can also be used on multi-scale instruments. The Rebel is also available as a multi-scale instrument, and then you can use the very same bridge elements on these basses, which is smart. The other thing is, as it's not as heavy as a solid bridge, the sound should be more wooden and more open compared to a massive bridge. We cannot compare this now because we don't have the very same model with a massive bridge and one with a single element. So there's no comparison now. The pickups here, you can see, as I said earlier, are made by Ussel, and you can see the big Alnico 5 magnets. So we have a split coil right here with 3 magnets for the lower 3 strings, B, E, and A, and 2 coils for the 2 magnets for the upper strings, D and G. This pickup looks like a jazz bass pickup, but actually it's not a single coil. It's a dual coil humbucker. One coil for B, E, and A string, and one other coil for D and G string. So that's kind of hum canceling, of course. And that's a very modern feature because most of the jazz bass style pickups are still single coils. Very interesting, and in my opinion, very cool looking is this volume knob right here. It's a huge one, and it has this nice graphic element around it, just in case you do not know it, but it gets louder when you turn it clockwise. So thanks for the help, but it looks cool. And one interesting feature and cool thing is this element, this graphical element, is repeated on the headstock around the tuner for the G string. We have that very same element too. And that's kind of a cool detail. All the other elements from all the other parts from the electronic circuit are placed up here. So we have balance right here to choose between the 2 pickups, of course, and we have a 2-band active circuit here on a stack pot. We have treble and we have bass. So that's easy to use, and in my opinion, it's very easy to access when you play here. Dial in a little more treble or a little less bass or whatever it is. The fretboard has 24 frets plus a 0 fret right here. We find hip shot tuners on the headstock. We find a string tube, which is also made by ETS. And we find, of course, the name of the bass model and the luthier's name, BassLine, right here. So that's a very, very cool instrument. It feels very good. It feels like an old, worn out pair of shoes. It's kind of comfy. You kind of know what you get. You're kind of not getting surprised by it. And that's a very cool feel for an instrument. I really like that. This particular instrument comes in a white satin finish with this huge black pickguard. But of course, Bassline is a custom shop. So you can order all different colors. You can order all kinds of different pickguard materials. You can order different pick-up configurations. Again, you can order a multi-scale instrument if you wish so. You can order 4, 5, 6 strings, whatever it is. Bassline can do it. So for this high quality elements, for this high level of quality of an instrument, in my opinion, the price is kind of inexpensive, as it is only 2,400 euros. This instrument is very, very good and high quality instrument made in Germany. So if you look for a kind of retro looking but yet modern instrument, you might go for the Bassline Rebel series. If you have any comments, please do so below. If you have any questions, please do so below. You find the link to the company below. You find all the detailed specifications in the description. Please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.